Welcome to Tech Disruptions, deep dives into the technologies reshaping industries, from AI to quantum to biotech. Let's get into it.
Okay, so we're all hearing about how AI is going to make us more productive, right? Write faster, code better, analyze data like never before. It's the new superpower.
Absolutely. That's the prevailing narrative. Unleash your potential, supercharge your workflow, automate the mundane. The promise is tantalizing.
But what if the very thing that's supposed to make us smarter is actually subtly making us dumber, or at least less critical?
That's precisely the provocative question at the heart of this new report from Anthropic, the AI maker. They call it the polished illusion, and it suggests that the more polished and human-like an AI's output appears, the less critically we users evaluate it. It's a phenomenon they're calling automation bias, amplified for the AI age.
Wait, so when the AI gives us something that looks perfect, like a finished report or a piece of code, our brains just switch off? We trust it more, not less? That's wild.
It's completely counterintuitive, isn't it? And it has massive implications for businesses eagerly deploying these tools. The data they've gathered is pretty stark.
All right, I'm hooked. We've been tracking AI adoption for years, but this report from Anthropic really shifts the focus, right? It's not just about if people are using AI, but how well. They're introducing this concept of AI fluency.
Exactly. For so long, the conversation has been about, are you using ChatGPT? Are you using Claude? How many people in your company have adopted an AI tool? But Anthropic, with their AI Fluency Index, is basically saying, hold on, adoption is one thing, but are people actually developing the skills to use these tools effectively, safely, and ethically? It's a much more nuanced question.
And it makes total sense. Like, just because I own a fancy espresso machine doesn't mean I'm a world-class barista. Knowing how to press a button isn't the same as understanding the art.
Perfect analogy. The report, led by Kristen Swanson, with contributions from Zoe Ludwig and Drew Bent, with academic input from Professor Rick Dakin and Professor Joseph Feller, moves beyond the hype of prompt engineering. They argue that just crafting a perfect prompt is too narrow a skill. They've built this 4D AI fluency framework, which defines fluency as being effective, efficient, ethical, and safe.
The 4Ds. Okay, tell me about those, because that sounds like a much more holistic approach than just figuring out how to get the AI to spit out what you want.
Right. So the first D is delegation, setting goals and deciding whether, when, and how to engage with AI. The second is description, effectively describing goals to prompt useful AI behaviors and outputs, which is where prompt engineering lives, but it's not the whole story.
Okay, so far pretty standard, right? You need to know what you want to do and how to ask for it.
But then it gets really interesting. The third D is discernment, accurately assessing the usefulness of AI outputs and behaviors. This is where a lot of the problems they uncovered lie. And finally, diligence, taking responsibility for what we do with AI and how we do it. This ties into the ethical and safety aspects.
So it's not just about the input, it's about the output and your responsibility for it. That makes AI sound less like a tool and more like a team member you have to manage?
Precisely. Their core philosophy is to treat AI not as a fancy vending machine that just dispenses answers, but as a thought partner or collaborator. To measure this, they actually analyzed nearly 10,000 anonymized user conversations on Claude.ai over a week in January 2026. They looked for 11 specific behaviors linked to these 4D competencies. This isn't just theory, it's real-world data from thousands of interactions.
That's a huge data set. So they're looking under the hood to see how people actually interact, not just how they say they interact. And what did they find separates the casual users from the true power users?
Well, they found one golden rule, if you will. The single most powerful and unambiguous finding is the critical importance of iteration.
Iteration? Like going back and forth with the AI, refining, asking follow-up questions?
Exactly. Not just taking the first response and running with it. The study found that iteration significantly improves critical evaluation.
Tell me, give me the stats.
Users who iterate are significantly more likely to question the AI's reasoning.
That's massive. That's not just a slight improvement, that's a whole different level of engagement.
And they're also significantly more likely to identify missing context in the AI's responses. This completely challenges the idea that the ultimate skill is crafting a single perfect prompt. While clear instructions are important, the evidence suggests the real value is unlocked in the conversational process that follows that initial prompt.
So it's not about being a prompt whisperer, it's about being a conversationalist. Like, AI isn't a genie that grants wishes perfectly on the first try. It's more like a junior researcher that needs guidance and feedback.
That's a great way to put it. It transforms the interaction from a simple delegation of a task to a genuine collaboration. Iteration is how you course correct, explore deeper, uncover nuances. For businesses, this means training should focus less on prompt libraries and more on fostering a mindset of collaborative inquiry. The simple act of staying in the conversation is the strongest correlate of all other effective AI usage behaviors.
Okay, so iteration is key. Don't just take the first answer. But you mentioned something earlier, something about a polished output paradox. This is where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a bit scary.
This is where the report takes a turn. They looked at conversations where users were directing the AI to create a specific artifact, a finished piece of work like code, a document, a business plan, even an interactive tool. You'd think, right, that when the stakes are higher and the output is a formal artifact, users would apply more scrutiny.
That's what I would assume. If I'm getting a legal brief or a piece of software from an AI, I'm going to pore over every line.
The data shows the exact opposite. When the AI produces something that looks complete, well-formatted, and stylistically confident, users' critical faculties measurably decline.
No, that's insane. How much less critical? Give me the numbers.
When conversations involved the creation of a polished artifact, users' critical discernment plummeted. They were significantly less likely to identify missing context, fact-check the AI's claims, or question the model's underlying reasoning.
So just because it looks good, our brains say, looks legit, ship it.
Pretty much. And what's fascinating is that users were actually more directive at the beginning of these artifact-focused conversations, clarifying goals, specifying formats, and providing examples. They act like demanding project managers up front. But once that beautiful, polished output is delivered, they switch from active collaborators to passive approvers.
That's such a human failing, isn't it? We see something that looks finished and professional, and our guard just drops. It's like we equate polish with perfection.
And this, the report argues, is a modern manifestation of a well-documented cognitive bias called automation bias. It's the human tendency to overtrust and under-critique the output of automated systems. We do it with GPS, with autopilots, and now with generative AI.
But AI is different, right? It's not just giving us a direction, it's giving us language. And language is how we convey authority.
Exactly. The danger with large language models is amplified because the output is natural language, the very medium humans use to convey authority and truth. When an AI speaks with confident, eloquent prose, our brains are wired to lower their guard. It sounds intelligent, therefore, it must be correct.
This is a massive red flag. We're talking about AI potentially generating legal documents, financial reports, even medical summaries. If people are just rubber stamping these polished outputs because they look good, we're headed for a world full of plausible but flawed work.
Precisely. An AI can generate a legal brief that looks perfect but contains a subtle factual error, or elegant code with a hidden security flaw. The polished illusion can lull employees into a false sense of security, leading them to approve and disseminate flawed work simply because it looks good. The very fluency we seek in AI models may inadvertently be undermining our own diligence.
That's a scary thought. And it points to a much deeper issue than just how to use the tools. It's about how we think when we're using these tools.
It absolutely is. And this leads directly to what the Anthropic study calls the silent skills gap. We're investing heavily in AI tools, but we're not training for the right skills.
You mean companies are teaching people how to write prompts, but not how to be skeptical?
Exactly. While much of the corporate training focus has been on prompt crafting, the description and delegation competencies, the biggest skills gap lies in discernment, the ability to critically evaluate.
Lay it on me.
The study found that users rarely check facts and assertions.
So people are just taking the AI's word for it? That's terrifying.
And users rarely question the AI's reasoning when it seemed invalid. These statistics suggest that the vast majority of users are treating AI outputs with a level of trust that is not yet warranted. The core high-value skill in an AI-powered world isn't just telling the AI what to do, it's the critical discernment to evaluate what comes back.
It's like we've swapped out the need for research for the need to just accept. But there's another part to this, right? Users aren't even telling the AI how to interact with them.
That's the other big missed opportunity. Users rarely actively set the terms of the interaction by giving the AI instructions on how to collaborate. This includes commands like, walk me through your reasoning step by step, or push back on my assumptions, or point out any uncertainties in your answer.
So we're not even asking the AI to be our skeptical thought partner. We're just treating it like a glorified search engine that gives us a single, confident answer.
Exactly. This is a massive, underutilized feature of modern AI. By not setting these expectations, users are defaulting to a master-servant dynamic rather than creating a true partnership. This failure to direct the interaction means we're missing out on the AI's potential to challenge our thinking and improve our own work. It's like having a brilliant coworker and never asking them for their opinion or to poke holes in your ideas.
So companies are investing in powerful AI tools, but they're not investing in the critical thinking and collaboration skills needed to use them safely and effectively. That sounds like a recipe for a decline in work quality, even as output volume skyrockets. A lot of plausibly incorrect work, as you said.
That's the risk. We're creating a workforce that's ill-equipped to handle the very tools they're being given. But the good news is, the report isn't just doom and gloom. It actually offers a clear, actionable roadmap for individuals and businesses to improve their AI collaboration.
Okay, so how do we level up? How do we not get duped by a chatbot that sounds too confident?
It boils down to 3 key strategies, directly from the data. First, stay in the conversation. Make iteration your default.
Never take the first answer. Push back.
Exactly. Treat the AI's first response as the beginning, not the end. Always ask at least one follow-up question. Are you sure about that? Can you explain this from another perspective? Make this more concise. This simple habit is the gateway to all other critical AI skills.
All right, iteration. Got it. What's number 2?
Number 2 is the crucial counterbalance to the polished output paradox. Be extra skeptical of polished outputs. The more finished, professional, and confident an AI-generated artifact looks, the more you should consciously activate your skepticism.
So when it looks perfect, that's when I should be most suspicious.
Precisely. When an AI hands you a complete report, a polished email, a piece of code, pause. Before accepting it, explicitly ask yourself, what might be missing here? Is this logic sound? How can I independently verify the key claims? Do not let clean formatting lull you into intellectual complacency. This is the moment to double down on diligence.
That's a tough cognitive muscle to build, because our natural inclination is the opposite. And the third strategy?
Be the boss. Set the terms of collaboration up front. Don't let the AI dictate the interaction. Remember, users rarely do this, so it's a vastly underused power move. From your very first prompt, tell the AI how you want it to behave.
Give me an example.
Use prompts like, act as a skeptical thought partner, challenge my assumptions, or, as you generate your response, please highlight any areas where the information is uncertain or contested, or even, explain your reasoning step by step and tell me where you might have made an assumption. This reframes the dynamic from a simple Q&A to a genuine collaboration and forces a higher standard of output from the model.
So it's not about being a better prompter. It's about being a better collaborator and critical thinker. The AI can be amazing, but it needs us to keep it honest, to push it, and to scrutinize its results, especially when they look too good to be true.
Absolutely. By consciously adopting these 3 behaviors, iterating relentlessly, suspecting polished outputs, and directing the collaborative frame, we can mitigate the risks of automation bias and truly unlock AI's potential as a powerful tool for human thought, rather than a crutch for laziness.
What this Anthropic report really highlights is that the biggest challenge with AI isn't going to be the technology itself, but our own human psychology, our biases, and our willingness to engage critically. The future of AI isn't just about faster, it's about smarter human-AI collaboration.
It forces us to ask, are we ready to do the cognitive work required to truly benefit from these tools? Or are we just going to let them make us less discerning?
And what happens to businesses who don't train their people in these critical discernment skills? Are they setting themselves up for a wave of low-quality, plausibly incorrect work, all generated and approved because it looked good on screen?
That's all for Tech Disruptions. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Stay curious out there.